Hey everyone, I want to welcome you back to Local Cash Machines Module 4. And where we are right now, where we left off, is that we're just about to create a site in HTML. And I have this template here that was part of the upgrade package, but you could do this certainly with any template out there. And you will need an HTML editor like Dreamweaver or Expression Web, or there's a free one called EnView that I'll give you a link to in the downloadable PDF. But once you have one of those installed, and like I said, this can be outsourced for $5 to $20. Okay, so if you don't want to mess around with any site building, you really don't have to. But what we want to do is we need to create attractive, easy to navigate, and functional websites with properly optimized page names. And what I mean by that is I'll show you what I mean by that. Is you can see over here, sorry about that. This right here, these are my pages, okay? We have an index page. This is the folder. This is the folder where my website template is. But we have these different pages. We have an index page. We have a services page. We have our work page, or that could be a testimonials page. And we have a contact us page. But what we do to optimize these page names and to get quicker and better search engine results, what we're going to do is we're going to change these to keyword city, from keyword city to the actual keyword. In my case, it's car repair. Okay, so I'm going to rename these files real quick before I even get started. I'm going to name it car repair Bridgeport, right? Because those are the keywords that I'm targeting. I'm going after Bridgeport car repair. Same thing with the services. Okay, we're going to just rename this file. And if you're outsourcing this, you'll just tell or give them these files, let them see these files. You're just going to tell them to make sure that you keyword optimize the page name. So we're going to go car repair. Okay, and then finally contact, and I'm going to change this. I'm going to have it say Bridgeport car repair. Okay, now do you see what I just did? Instead of just having these be simple, our services page, our contact, we're naming these files so that the search engine sees them and says, whoa, this must be about Bridgeport car repair, or this might be about whatever, the niche that you're in is. So before we get started with anything, I want you to go ahead and do that. Okay? Very important. And then once we do that, we'll go ahead and we'll take a look at the sites that I'm setting up here. This is the site that we're going to be building. Right now it's for a Fort Lauderdale mover, but we're going to set it up for Bridgeport car repair. So what you'd want to do is you'd want to go ahead and open up. Sorry about that. I have a couple of files open that I didn't want to open. Let me just quit this for a second. So what we're going to do is in our HTML editor, okay, we're going to go ahead and open. First off, I always like to start with the index file, okay? And I'll show you these changes that we're going to make. So the very first thing is I want you to not worry about, oh, I don't know why I seem to be having, hold on one second. Okay. Actually, let me just get right rid of. Okay. So here I am. I'm in my HTML editor. okay? And you'll see this is my theme. This is my home page. This is the very first page that they land on, okay? And what we're doing is we're adhering, okay? We're adhering to some basic SEO best practices. And what I mean by that is we have H1 tags, okay? That's what this right here, this is an H1. You can see down here in my editor, it says H1. The search engines like H1 tags. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that that very first H1, okay, is going to have keyword city or city keyword. So we're going to have car repair in Bridgeport. Okay. Now, for this very first paragraph in this very first sentence, it's very important that we have our keyword in our city in this very first sentence. Okay. The rest of it, you really don't. It really doesn't matter what's in there, but it's important that we have our keyword and city. So what we're going to do is we're going to just go ahead and type in something like this. No matter why you need a Bridgeport, no matter why you need car repair, okay, in Bridgeport, and no matter how big or small, the rest of the content doesn't matter so much for right now because no one's actually going to look at this right at the minute. And no matter how big or small, the job you've got in mind, Bridgeport car repair, can get the job done for you. Okay? We've been helping people in Bridgeport. Now what we'd want to do, we've been helping people in Bridgeport repair their cars for years, and we've got the expertise to get the job done right every time. Okay, so you can see what I've done. I want that keyword in that first paragraph, okay, 3 to 5 times. You don't need to get crazy. Okay, for different text to add, just look at some different businesses, okay, not in your exact area, but in your industry, for some text to copy, for some ideas to copy, and you can just change things around a little bit. And you can even make a small pitch right in here for the website saying that this site is going to be ranked at the top of the search engines and is available to the first auto repair shop that calls me in the Bridgeport area. You see that? So we'll actually go ahead and see it. Write that in there. Sorry, car repair. And I was capitalizing it so that you would see it, but I wouldn't always capitalize it. I'll capitalize it a couple of times, and you might want to bold things a couple of times. Like we're going to bold this right here. Bridgeport car repair. Oh. Okay, I'm going to bold this. Yeah, just bold that real quick. Okay. What's important here, what's really important here is to get our keywords in here. Now, we want to do the same thing down here on this next H1 line. Why choose a auto repair car repair shop in Bridgeport? I won't throw in a question mark there. You could if you wanted to, but I usually don't throw question marks just because they look funny, I feel. Okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to just go ahead and put in a little bit more filler text. Like you can see, this is for a mover, okay? But you could You could go ahead right to my Fort Lauderdale Mover.net site and copy any of that filler text that you want. You could go to WorcesterRoofer.com and copy any of that filler text that you want. If you need those addresses or if you need a link to them, just let me know. The main important thing is we want 3 of these H1 tags on this first page. Okay, looking for a Bridgeport car repair facility. Okay, and then we're going to just throw in some more filler text. The other thing that we want to make sure that we have, like what we're going to do is we're going to change these up top here. We want that to say Bridgeport car repair. Okay? And we want this to say car repair services. And for this site, I'm just going to have it be our work. Okay? And then contact okay. Hopefully, and now this is the menu. Realize what I'm doing right here is the menu. So we're going to go ahead and do this to all 4 of our pages too. We want the menu to always say, instead of just index, like a lot of sites will just have home. Instead of just having home or index, we want it to say Bridgeport car repair. Okay? And instead of just services, we want it to say car repair services. We'll leave our work. You don't have to, but because of this template, you don't want your menu to go on multiple lines. So I'll leave that as just our work. And then instead of just contact us, like 90% of the sites out there are going to have, you're going to have contact Bridgeport car repair. Okay? So the next thing that we want to make sure is we're going to have images. You want to have at least 1 image on your site. Okay? And you want to name this image. Keyword City Picture. Okay? Keyword City Picture. You can see this banner right here would cost you less than $5 is the absolute cheapest thing you can usually get done. But you could probably get this advertisement here and a simple banner that we're going to talk about a little bit later, made like this banner right here, like this big banner, for $5. Okay, $5 without any problem. So don't worry about that if you don't know how to make an image. But what we want to do with this is we need to make sure that we name this image. Okay, we name this image Keyword City Picture, and then there's a thing called an alt image tag. Okay. And I'll just show you the code so that you can see what it looks like. But we name this picture Keyword City Picture. So in this instance, we're going to go Bridgeport, it doesn't matter when I say Bridgeport car repair, Bridgeport, it doesn't matter. You can mix them up, and I encourage you to mix them up. But so alt equals Bridgeport car repair. Okay? And that's the alt. It's very important that we have that. So when we look at our code on this, the alt text is Bridgeport car repair picture. Okay? Now I want you to understand, if you don't know how to do HTML, and if what I'm saying to you looks like it makes absolutely no sense to you, then what you should do is just pay someone either $5 or $10 or $20 or whatever it costs to help you with the things that you don't know, because you really can get this outsourced for $5 to $20. Okay? Because you're just going to be handing them a simple template that's super easy to update, and